Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Environmental Social Justice. I'm your host, Wendy Nystrom, and today's special guest is Ashley Foreman. She is the Vice President of Corporate Services, and Adam Gallant. He is the Corporate Service Executive for Dynamic Lifecycle Innovations. Welcome, both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Anytime. And Ashley, welcome to you too. I know I spoke very quickly at the beginning because I want to try to get everybody's names in. But you guys work for an awesome company that I got to visit when I was in Tennessee in September. And I'd like to talk about some of the work you do. But before we dive in, Ashley, your background is actually pretty cool. You have a business and finance background, mainly in the financial industry. So what led you to come to Dynamic, which is an e-waste recycling company?
Yeah, great question. So Dynamic has a good reputation locally where I'm from. So I'm from, I grew up in rural Wisconsin, right on the Mississippi River. And we have a largish city in the area, about 100,000 people population wise. And Dynamic has a reputation of being just a wonderful organization, both with what they do from a mission perspective and then culturally as well and how they treat people. So that's actually what drew me in, because previously working in the financial industry, I really wanted to build a more mission focused career. And that was something that was important to me. And especially the focus of Dynamic being on bringing, giving electronics their next best life, keeping things out of landfills, really spoke pretty highly to me.
And, being a Midwesterner myself, one of my best friends is from Peshtigo, Wisconsin. So you are probably one of the few people who know where that is.
Yes, I do.
Very far north, pretty much border Canada, folks. And yes. Adam, you have a background, sales background, corporate training. Why did you go into the e-waste side, going from, corporate training and sales?
Well, I came to Dynamic mostly because of its culture, honestly. Much like Ashley, I met a woman and moved to the Nashville area because of a relationship with her. And upon moving into the Nashville area, I had to move jobs. And Dynamic, when I was doing the interview process, the way they treated me through the interview process, the culture that they spoke about, and just the overall presentation of Dynamic really fit me very well. The e-waste side of things was an extra lovely bonus.
And, I love the fact that you both kind of focused in on the corporate culture and how the company treats people, because in my personal opinion, I think that's one of the most important things a company can have, especially for employee retention, is you need to have employees be happy. But the fact you're actually doing good in the world with respect to e-waste. And Ashley, real quick, not everybody will understand what e-waste is. Would you mind very simply explaining what that is to the public?
Yes. Stands for electronic. So anything that has a battery or plugs in is considered an electronic. And e-waste is managing all of the dispositioned or end-of-life electronics for really, it could be households, it could be corporations. We work with a wide variety of organizations. We're very industry agnostic with who we support. But yes, e-waste, the E stands for electronics. So pretty much anything you can think of, battery or plug-in, we take it. Yes, exactly. We get a lot of those.
Saw a lot. So when I was visiting, and I saw pallets upon pallets upon pallets of computers and laptops and gadgets and wires. I mean, all the wires. Yep. I mean, my husband has a whole box of them. Please take them. Seriously, it's driving me crazy. But people just want to update and get the latest new thing without realizing that it just gets thrown into a landfill, which is very bad. This has metals that leach out. These are contaminants that go into our soil and groundwater. And most people probably don't realize you guys were founded in 2007. You've been around for a bit, so you actually know what you're doing. And I think one of the biggest hiccups that I've heard people say when they talk about e-waste and recycling materials is they're worried about the data security. And Adam, when you walked me through your entire plant, you guys were very, very cognizant of what can be recycled, what cannot be recycled. So how do you make that distinction, and what do you do with stuff you have to actually destroy?
Well, the market really dictates what can be recycled and what can be resold. As recycling is concerned, what you didn't get to see is in our Wisconsin facility, we have a shred process that has, it's, what is it, 3 stories tall, Ashley, and roughly 300 feet long. And it's got photo sensors all along through the whole process that segregates everything into its own commodities and spits it out the other end into its own container. And we take those materials and cycle those back into manufacturing. It does several things for the environment. One, we're not mining those things back out again, out of the earth. And it's also it's reducing carbon footprint for manufacturing new products.
And a lot of that, when we talk about the e-waste in general, what people probably don't put together are when you talk about mining, is it's not really localized. We're not getting a lot of these materials within our own country or own states. It's going overseas where conditions are much worse. And there are no environmental regulations, so there's a lot of pollution, small child labor, sometimes quasi-slave labor. So we really don't want to encourage that. We want actually to be able to use what we have, keep it out of the landfill because of, again, that leaching out into the soil and the environment. Not a great thing to do. And my personal thing is perhaps people don't need the very next toy. You can maybe hold on to your phone for a little while longer. That's just me though. But actually one of the things when we talked about employees and how they treat people and how positive of an environment you guys have created, you also have a very strong employee base of people who understand the regulations, people who are trained. Could you go into what that training process looks like? Because it can't be easy. I'm assuming this cannot be easy.
Question. So I actually started in Dynamic running our human resources team, or people operations as we call it. So starting in the learning and development space, and my very first charge coming from the finance industry into this industry was first understanding what is electronics recycling, and then how do I understand that so that I can help build programs to teach others. So it's a pretty complex. It's complex to explain, but from a training standpoint, we focus a lot on first understanding that our goal as an organization is to find the next best life through reuse first. So in the circular chain, we're primarily focusing on first, how do we give those electronics secondary life? Most things, I mean, Wendy, you touched on it, most things that we see have useful life in them. So we can refurbish them, we can clean them up, and we can put them into the secondary market so that others can utilize them instead of breaking them down to the commodity level and using those commodities back in the manufacturing stream. That's our secondary focus. It's a huge part of our business. It's a huge part of our focus. But first, how do we train and teach our team members to find useful life within what other organizations or other communities have deemed as waste? And there's a lot. There is a lot. So being able to build out programs that focus on first teaching people why that matters, always starting with the why. Why is that important? Why should you care? Why is secondary life such a huge focus for us? And why do we want to, how do we teach our team members to see that, to identify that, but also feel the importance of why it matters? And then from that standpoint, protect the data. So making sure data is wiped, making sure that, we are protecting the interest of our customers at all times. And then from there, it's moving into what we call the demanufacturing process. So building programs around how to safely and effectively demanufacture equipment. It's not a traditional manufacturing process. We're pulling things apart. We are taking things down to that commodity level so that it can be, in its purest form, used back in the manufacturing stream. So how do we get that purity? How do we make sure that everything that comes out of our doors nothing is landfilled and it's all going right back into manufacturing if it's not being reused, so that we can make sure that we are not contributing to the challenge and the problem that exists with electronic waste being landfilled. It's only about 20% of electronics waste they estimate that's actually getting reused or recycled.
Oh, wow. That's a low number. I didn't realize it was that low.
It's estimations because it's so hard to say too, but that's, generally the statistic that we hear pretty regularly. And it's a big problem. So how do we help curb that issue?
Also, I think most people don't even know. They don't know that it's something
Right.
that can't be, like, maybe they'll have a box of their old electronics and be like, I have stuff on this that I don't want other people to get. So how do I do it with sanitation? And I have to say, when I went to your plant, I did get to see the video of Wisconsin as well. So that was pretty cool too. But the courage that your employees have of ripping something apart and taking it down and just unscrewing things and pulling out components. I mean, someone who grew up, at the very beginning of the computer world, back in the 80s, you had a computer, and if you even hit the key wrong, the thing just went kaput on you. So to be able to just tear something apart, rip out parts, reassemble it into something better, faster, quicker, that's kind of magic to me, I'll be honest, because it's not my world at all. And, what you guys could do is pretty darn cool. And, they're sanitizing and I mean, yes, sometimes you do have to destroy hard drives because there's stuff on there. And it's a crunching device, right? You just get it and you just kind of grind it up. That's pretty cool stuff that you do. I'm sure there's a lot of tension that gets taken out when you do that. But you guys are also worldwide. And I don't think most people realize, yes, you're based in Wisconsin. Yes, you have a facility in Nashville, Tennessee. But this can be anywhere, right? People can send you stuff from anywhere around the world.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. And even, I'm ashamed to admit, growing up in this area, I did not realize the footprint that we have. And Dynamic was founded in this area. So where I grew up, where I was born and raised, and starting with the organization and realizing that we do have a global footprint. So we have customers that have business all over the world, and we support the responsible recycling of that material from any part of the country, any part of the world, and it's pretty cool to be able to support that.
Now, are people able to just mail you stuff, or do you have contracts? I don't really know how it works.
Yeah, good question. So we do have our 2 processing facilities in Nashville and then Wisconsin. So we have our own in-house logistics. So if we can bring it to our own facility with our logistics team, then that's first and foremost what we want to do. For one, we want to maintain a really secure chain of custody. We want to keep control of that material as much as we can, and obviously eliminate the movement of material through the logistics chain where we don't necessarily need that, because that's from a carbon emission standpoint. We want to avoid that. But outside of where we can process ourselves, we have certified partners. So we have a partner network all over the world where these certified partners, they're expected to operate under our same standards and protocols and expectations, which are very stringent. And we will have material shipped directly to those facilities, and then they will process under our supervision and under our authority for, how we want to make sure that material is managed. And then we'll be able to, report on that back to our customers.
That's very cool. So you kind of have this, overreach where you could just tell people how to do it correctly, make sure it's done safely, especially with data.
Yes.
We want to make sure that's done safely. And then one of the cool things with when I was in Tennessee and I was at your facility watching people take things apart, and it's a pretty massive facility, is Adam has a museum of the crazy stuff. Pardon me?
It's not my museum. It is our facility. Just fun little nod to the things in the past. And
I'm going to bring up some pictures that Adam has shared, because I have to say, guys, there's some museum quality stuff that gets thrown out.
So these are items that are in our Wisconsin facility in our lobby to just give a little nod to the past. And this is an old Kodak early video camera. Whoops. There we go. So that's an early video camera. This is, of course, some of us will remember fondly the first Nintendo gaming system to the United States, the NES.
Mario Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you played on those.
That. And then this is an old weather radio. So this I don't know what era this is from, but it really looks like
Jeez,
probably.
I think my grandfather had one of those.
And then this is an early Kodak film camera.
That's music. I mean, people would pay really good money for that, and that was thrown away.
And there's another nice view of it. So among other things, we find first generation iPhones. I don't know if you guys will remember this, but the TRS-80s, one of the first personal computers in people's households, from the Tandy Corporation, which owned Radio Shack. So lots of really cool stuff.
Oh, wow. I remember my dad had a Texas Instruments that none of us could figure out how to use, but you know, that was early 80s. What can I say? That started my fear of all things electronics, because I can't tell you how many term papers I lost on that thing. I just went, 2 a.m. pulling out the typewriter, starting all over. That was my world.
So when I was young, my parents got our first home computer, and it was something you would put a floppy disk in, and you would have to actually write programming to make it work.
WPs, yeah, all that stuff.
I actually read. I was writing programming to make this computer work. My parents had it after a week, just never touched it again, and I got to do with it as I wished. And before I even knew my alphabet, I was punching in numbers.
Oh, wow.
Of code.
No, we were yelled at. Don't touch it. Get away from it. You'll break it. So that's why to this day, when something happens and I'm just like, just run away. But no, it's really cool what you guys do. I'm going to just take down there we go. Bring you guys back. But it's really cool what you guys do, because there is a lot of waste out there. Some of them are museum quality, as we've just seen, which is so freaking cool to me. But we got to keep it out of the landfills, because there's still materials that we can use. It's still valuable. It's still usable. And, let's just use what we got. Then we're not dependent on someone else to bring it out to us, and keeping it, whole. So both Adam, both Ashley, what is the best way to get in touch with you guys if someone says, hey, I want to send something to you, or I want to work for you, or I want to know how to collaborate with you? What's the best way?
Well, you can always visit our website and fill out our contact us form.
Perfect.
You can email me directly if you'd like at agallant@thinkdynamic.com.
Our website is www.thinkdynamic.com.
Perfect. And so just so people got that, thinkdynamic.com. It's very, very simple. And then there's a contact form. You can fill that out. You can find Adam on LinkedIn. Ashley, I think you're on LinkedIn as well. Just use that format, guys. Get in touch and learn more about what you can do locally as well as globally, because there's a lot of garbage out there and there's money to be made. I mean, if you can refurbish and reuse it and get it back out there, schools that can't afford brand new, I think that's brilliant, because you guys supply that for people and just help people out. I think what you're doing is wonderful. I really do.
Well, thank you very much.
Anytime. And so on closing, Ashley, any final parting words about what you guys do?
Yes, I would say what we do is just a small part of solving the problem, or trying to be a part of improving the situation, which is providing more opportunities for reuse and then responsible recycling when it comes to electronics waste. And regardless of your role in various organizations, or what impact you have on this problem from a macro perspective, everybody on the micro level can focus on, what is my company doing? What is my local government doing? And what am I doing to make sure that I am responsibly recycling and providing electronics with an opportunity for reuse before they go in a landfill?
Fabulous. And I think it's a really big part of what we need to start thinking about, and just changing the way we think and doing things. Adam, any parting words from you?
Yes. Don't follow the status quo. Do the right thing. Find where you can make a difference for the world. Give us a call. Give your local recycler a call. just do your part.
I love that. Don't follow the status quo, because Lord knows I never have. So that is actually really good advice. So on that, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for your time. People, please check out thinkdynamic.com, see what you can do to help. Get rid of the junk in your garage. Just ship it out. Send it somewhere that's going to matter. So thank you both for your time. I really do appreciate it. And I'm your host, Wendy Nystrom with Environmental Social Justice. We are now proudly sponsored by Better Logo. They just make life better. We'll catch you guys next time. Take care.
Thank you.